And in these times, you cannot afford to not understand property verification. Let me ask you a question. As an investor, you want to work with a broker, or you want to work with someone to verify a property you want to invest in. Let's say you're in diaspora, you're not in Nigeria, you're not in Nigeria, and you want to invest in a particular property, and then you choose to trust in, let's say, a lawyer or a surveyor or whoever it is that you know or you work, or even the broker, to actually verify the property before investing. The truth is, how do you even know the parameters that how do you know the feedback that you should demand and expect from these people? How do you know what questions should you even ask this professional? What questions? Because see, it's one thing to have a professional verify a property that you want to invest in, and it's a different ballgame to actually ask the right questions that make him or her accountable. Because the fact is, as an investor, the degree to which you're able to show that you know what to expect, it is to that degree that whoever is working with you as a professional is on his toes. I've seen professionals come to my office and why they want to verify a particular property. Their first question is about if there's any commission attached to the property. And I'm like, you are sent here by an investor, right? So we can verify this property that he or she wants to invest in. And your first concern is about the commission involved. Come on. And the reason why such a professional would just be intentional about the commission and not even about verifying the property, the reason why he or she came is because he knows that, see, this investor does not even know what to expect. I can literally just tell this investor that this property is safe for him to invest in, and he's going to go on and invest in it. All he needs is for me to tell him go ahead. But then he doesn't even know, what did you do for you to even say that this thing is safe for me to invest? What you did, are those the things that you actually need to do? The questions you ask, the information you have, where are they? What information do you have? On what grounds are you even asking me to go ahead and invest in this property? And the truth is that, see, until we get this right, we're going to have this issue of land scam. We're going to have people still crying over land dispute day in, day out. So now the first thing, when it comes to property verification is this. You must understand that, see, it matters a lot who you are investing with than the properties you are investing in. I'll come again. That's it matters a lot who you are investing with than even the property you are investing in. Especially if you're a first-time buyer, especially if you are an investor, and you know that, see, you've not built some level of strength to fight land issues. And see, this is not even a joking matter. There are people who see that a property is faulty, and then because of the fact that they know that, see, they have their way around the whole legal and the system, they still go ahead to invest in that property and face whatever comes out of it. But now, you as an investor, you want to buy some acres, few acres, you want to even buy hectares, and you know that, see, even if you have your way around these systems, you do not plan to use whatever power you have to fight or start going over land issues. You know that this is not what you are meant for. You know that this is not what you are set out for. Then it means that you must firstly pay attention to this thing, knowing that, see, the person I'm actually investing with matters a lot. The people who I'm actually doing this deal with matters a lot. So you want to buy a property, let's say from a community. Now, it's important, just like when you want to get married, in the Igbo tradition where I'm from, right? Where I'm from, before you get married, there are certain things you get to ask, there are certain things you get to want to know about, right? You tell your father that you want to invest in a property. Your father begins to ask you, this lady, where is she from? What's her family name? What's her lineage like? What do you know about the family? Are they this? Are they? He begins to ask you questions about not even the lady, but the family she's coming from. He begins to ask you questions about not even the lady, but her father, about her mother, about the family structure, the family lineage, about what the family represents. And see, this is see, Even you begin to get questions like what do you know about her grandfather, about the forefather? What do people say about them? Your father begins to tell you that he's going to go ahead and ask questions before you even go ahead to even propose to that lady. Now, and see, the funny part is this: he's not even making findings about the lady, but about the family she's coming from. And let's just put this same scenario in property acquisition. Let's put this same scenario in property verification. Because the land you want to invest in is like you want to marry a wife. And that means that if you're going to buy a particular property, it's important that you know, I know. See, I have a rationale. And one of those rationale is that, see, I have a way to check, to do a proper check on the people that are involved in this property. The people that actually own this property. I want to know, what's their record like? What's their record like? Do they have any criminal records? Do they have any loan history that is exorbitant? Because see, in a system like ours where of course we do not have a proper system to even track loan histories of people. I tell you, someone, and this is what I mean. While the banking system has a system to track people's loan history, right? I tell you that the traditional system does not have that in place. What that means is that a particular person can want to sell a property, for example. Let's say property is 100 million naira, and this same person has borrowed 50 million naira from his traditional people, let's say the villagers, or from his club members. Now, you know that history is not going to be in the bank record, right? It's not going to be in the bank record. It's going to rather be in the traditional history where it's going to be it's rather going to be in the traditional record or in the record of the club members, not necessarily in the bank record. That's what I mean by the system is not completely it's not completely something we can lay hands on at the spur of the moment. And what that means is that, see, you want to even know, what is this man's loan history like? Who and where does he belong to? Who and where does he belong to? Who and where does he belong to? What is credible? What do people even say about this person? If I go to this community this land belongs to so and so person who is from so and so community. What are people within that community saying about this person? You want to invest in what are people within this community saying about the person you want to invest in this property with? That's a question you need to ask. So you don't just end up losing your money. You don't just end up investing. See, something happened. This was 4 years ago. We had to do a property verification for someone. A woman reached out to us. She was referred by a client who we worked for before, and she wanted to invest in a property with a particular person. And trust me, she brought us in, and while we were doing our verification, we said some things to her. We the property, everything was making sense. The property was making sense, but then we did something. We had to go back to the village and we asked questions, and we were like, "Who is this person? What do people even say about him?" We had to make that findings, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 persons, their response were not making sense. It was not making sense. The questions we were getting were not, there's a way people respond to you when you ask about somebody that makes you actually think and want to know why they are responding that way. And long and short, to cut long story short, was that I asked her to send the person a message on WhatsApp. And which I'd never done before, while she opened her WhatsApp to send him a message, she saw a particular profile picture of this person doing something on his WhatsApp profile picture. I won't want to say it here, but you can imagine the boldness. And when she saw this, she just shouted. She called me. She was like, "Sure, I'm not going to invest in that property again." And when I asked her why, she told me. And when she said that, it just made sense. Now, the coordinate, everything was making sense. But when we had to ask about the person she was investing with, it just became clear that, see, this person can actually sell this property to you and resell it again. And funny enough, that was just the end point of what we got to know about this person. So it's important that you get to know who you're working with. See, and the fact is, if you're an investor who is actually investing in a property, we believe that you're not just investing because you want to just get return on investment. Because the first thing about property investment is to know that, see, the property you are buying to get, whether it's cash flow or return on investment, firstly has less risk attached to it. So the first thing we do in property verification, the idea behind it is that you first de-risk the property before looking up to get cash flow or return on investment. You want to know that the property you're investing in has been de-risked. Something happened when we were engaged in a property verification for a particular client. Everything made sense. We've done our findings and everything. We did all verification that needed to be done. And we went ahead to survey the property. We brought in our survey team. We did the survey of the property for the client. And when we were coming out, there was a little misunderstanding. And then one of the family members of the people who our clients bought this property from said something. And he said, let me see if you are going to get into this property. Now he started making some threats. Now, of course, we knew how to go about that, and we knew how to tame his nuisance and make him see that, you just have to tame the nuisance of the moment, right? But the fact is, there are people who have bought properties, everything just checks in, everything clicks in, and because the people who they bought this property from do not have credibility, because the people they bought this property from are people who just have this sense of, we can buy, I can sell to you and still resell, and you do nothing. And because of that, they've ended up losing their properties that they bought. They paid for in full. And that's the reason why sometimes you heard developers say something like, when you buy a property, plan to pay again for that property. You hear developers say something like, sometimes in real estate, we pay for properties over and over again. What makes that happen? Why does this happen? It happens mainly because of the people involved in the transaction. So you want to know the person I'm working with. You want to have questions that needs to be answered about the person, the people who own the property you're about to invest in. And see, even when you are buying from a real estate company, it's not any different. You want to know, this developer, what are his track records? Where is he coming out from? Where is this person coming out from? Who is he? What do people know him for? What do people say about him? Does he have any records? You have to check with the EFCC. Does he have any criminal records in the past? Now, I'm not saying that the person who has a bad past cannot have a better present or future. What I'm saying is that even if he has a bad past, you want to know. You want to know such that you now know measures you need to put in place to protect yourself. You understand? So you want to know what is his loan record like. There must be this rationale put in place to know about this person, the developer that you're investing in. Because sometimes it's possible that, see, he did everything right. All the boxes were properly checked before he invested in this property, and then something comes out later. Now you want to know, this developer, who is he? Is he someone who is going to just run away? How long has he even been in this industry? See, and it's also an important factor to check. Now, when I mean how long, I'm not saying how long. I'm not asking for how long the real estate company he founded is. A developer rather can have a real estate company that he founded for, let's say, 2 years, but he has been in the industry for 8 or 10 years, or for 6 or 7 or 3 years, right? Because I believe that if you're even going to become a developer to build anything, you must have been a part of a system before. You don't just come up from nowhere. You must have been about you. I mean, that obviously that's where you should have known about what you are doing right now. You shouldn't have just come out from the blues. Because let's not be emotional about this thing. You cannot work with someone who just came out of the blues. What's your track record? What's your history like? Where have you been before? What have you been doing in the past 2, 3, 4 years? Have you been in this space for how long? Have you been in this space? What have you been doing in this space for a while? While I know that some persons will eventually grow faster than other persons, but I want to know, what's even your track record? We want to know that. See, it's a rationale that must be put in place. We want to know where are you coming from. So yes, this company is 1 year old. Your real estate company is 1 year old. But we want to know, how long have you been? Who have you worked with before now? See, and that's why when I see people who come and they try to castigate and say, oh, this property has this issue, this developer has this issue, and this and that, I try to make them see that, see, before you work with this person, what do you know about this developer? Do you think he's someone you can trust? Do you think he's someone who has the interest of people at heart? Do you think he's someone who has your interest at heart? Do you think he's someone who has a good heart? Do you think he's someone who, if something comes out at the end of the day, he's actually going to stand and see to it that, see, this thing, we get to the end of it. Is this someone that has a big vision for what he's doing? And see, it's a very important question you need to ask. What is his vision for what he's doing? Is he someone who is just here to just raise 100 million naira and just run away? Or is this someone who has a bigger vision for what he's doing? Is this someone you know that is doing this thing for the long term? I asked him this. I usually ask realtors this question, and I also make them see that, see, the moment you're able to answer this question, you answer it rightly. That is where you now even decide to work with this person. Before even verifying the properties that they have, that is when you even decide to even work with this person. Because you want to know that these boxes are properly checked. You just want to know. See, it's not something sometimes I'm tired of seeing people who come and they say, everything was, I bought this property and my client invested in this property and now my client is they're just chasing after me and this and that. It doesn't have to be, because you firstly have to know, who is this person I'm working with? It's a very important question that just needs to be answered. And see, we want to have a time in Africa where investors can come in, invest in properties, and they can know within their heart that, see, I'm not going to have any story at the end of the day. When investors can come into a community and invest in a community, they can. I was making a research and I saw how that a particular country in the world, how they just had to decentralize, how they just had to make certain investments in certain location. I mean, they had to partner with people, not even people from that country, to actually set up a factory that produces, for example, toothpaste in this community, a factory that produces candle wax in this community, a factory that produces rubber in this community. Every community had specific investment that was done. And see, we're coming to a point in Africa where we're going to have people who will come in with the same initiative to set up certain investment, of course, in partner with the government as well, to set up certain investments in certain locations. You want to know about the community too. You want to know, who are these people? Trust me, see, I tell you that there are places, there are communities where even when the government goes to acquire properties, they know that they have to prepare very well. They know that they have to prepare for the worst. Because why? These people are definitely going to come and fight. I mean, there are specific communities that you want to invest in that you know that, see, I just have to prepare for war. And that's the reason why these questions need to be asked. So you know that even if I have to go ahead and go ahead and invest in this property, what measures do I have to put in place? What system do I have to put in place? You want to invest in a property in a community, and you know that, see, this community has a lot of youths who are used to bringing up nuisance, who are used to fighting against and chasing investors, who are used to trying to sell properties over and over again. What that tells you is this: if I'm going to invest here, there are certain measures I need to put in place. There's a way I need to come in. There's certain things I need to define, such that these people know that, see, there are certain things they cannot do. Some people know that this investor came in prepared. So it's important that we ask this question. It's important that we know that, see, this is one of the rationale to look out for impromptu verification. And see, in a time where we're going to have people invest so much in Africa, I mean, we're going to have other continents invest so much more in Africa. We cannot look down on this aspect of property verification. It's not something we can joke with. It's a major aspect of or is a major aspect of property verification. Because, like I always teach that, see, if you're going to invest in a property, you must firstly do what? Verify the property, investigate in the property. It's part of the investigation. Investigate about the owners of the property. Investigate about the people who are involved in this property. And see, it's painful. Sometimes it's really painful when you get when you get into certain rooms and you're sitting with stakeholders. I mean, stakeholders, and then you hear something like Africa, Nigeria is a low trust community, is a low trust society. It's disheartening. I've been in a room, and then I mean, these are in foreign investors who were going to invest in a property, and this was actually a partnership. And then I could hear one of them say that, and he was speaking to his legal person, and he was just saying to this person that we have to be very, very careful. We're in Nigeria. We know we're in Nigeria. And see, while it's disheartening, while it's painful when you hear people, investors say that, the truth remains that as an investor, you still have to guard yourself. The truth remains that at this current position of things, it's a reality. It's a reality. So when we say, because see, we need to note that when you buy a property today and you experience land disputes, or it looks like there's a scam on this property, it is not the property itself that has disputes. It's the people involved in that property. It's the people involved in that property. And that's why, if you're an investor and you have to invest in a property, you must know, you must check, you must ascertain the people involved in that property transaction. In an environment where we have people who have certain mindsets, who have this mentality of entitlement, who think that they can just do anything and get away with it. In a society like that, then you must know who you are dealing with. You must know who owns the property you're investing in, whether you're investing in any property at all. So this is a very important rationale that needs to be checked if you're going to invest in Africa, if you're going to invest in Nigeria. And I want to believe that if you can put this into perspective, put up a system. We have a system in place where we actually check this properly, right? If you can put up a system, you can put things in place, put systems in place that can help you check and verify this properly. We believe that we'll be able to work together to eradicate land scam, to reduce the land disputes that flock into the courts. We'll be able to encourage investors, right, to actually invest in the African property space. And that's the goal. That's the goal for us. So yeah, we'll choose to end with this, and we believe that with this we'll be able to achieve a whole lot more in the property space, the property verification space in Africa.